Picture this: two of Hollywood's most unexpected souls, walking separate paths for decades, their stories woven through triumph and heartbreak. Now, whispers in the entertainment world suggest something beautiful might be blooming between them. A source close to both stars hints that Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson are preparing to reveal the truth about their relationship status. But how did we get here? How did the blonde bombshell of Baywatch and the action hero with a poet's heart find each other in this chaotic world of fame? Sometimes the most powerful love stories begin not with fireworks, but with understanding. Two people who've weathered the storms of public scrutiny, who've loved deeply and lost profoundly, finding solace in each other's battle-worn hearts. Let's go back to where it all began. For Pamela, it started in a small town in British Columbia. Picture a young girl with dreams bigger than the Canadian prairies that surrounded her. She never imagined that one day the world would know her name, that cameras would follow her every move, that she'd become both celebrated and scrutinized in ways she never could have prepared for. The year was 1989. Pamela was just 22. Sitting in the stands at a football game, wearing a Labatt's beer t-shirt. The camera found her in that crowd of thousands. In that single moment, her life changed forever. The brewery offered her a modeling contract. It seemed like magic, like destiny calling. But fame is a double-edged sword, isn't it? One day you're a small-town girl with simple dreams. The next, you're thrust onto television screens across America, running in slow motion down a beach, becoming a symbol of an entire decade. Baywatch made Pamela Anderson a household name, but it also made her a target. The show ran for 11 seasons, and through every single one she carried the weight of being both adored and objectified. She was the fantasy of millions, yet somehow, her own dreams of being taken seriously as an actress seemed to slip further away. "I just wanted to be seen as more than just a pretty face," she once confided in an interview, her voice carrying years of frustration. "I had so much more to offer." While Pamela was navigating the treacherous waters of sudden stardom in the early 90s, across the Atlantic, Liam Neeson was carving out a very different path. Born in Northern Ireland, he grew up during the Troubles, where violence was a constant shadow. Perhaps that's where his later roles as a man, seeking justice and redemption, found their authenticity. Liam's journey to Hollywood wasn't paved with magazine covers or slow-motion beach runs. It was built on theater stages and small film roles. He worked construction to pay his bills. He boxed. He taught school. He understood struggle in a way that would later make his performances so deeply human. Then came Schindler's List in 1993. Suddenly, the world saw what those who knew Liam had always known. Here was an actor who could carry the weight of history on his shoulders, who could make you believe in heroism without ever raising his voice. But success in Hollywood can be lonely. For both Pamela and Liam, the 90s brought fame, but also a kind of isolation that only those in the spotlight truly understand. For Pamela, love came quickly and publicly. Tommy Lee, the wild drummer from Mötley Crüe, swept her off her feet in 1995. Their wedding happened after knowing each other for just 4 days. For days, it sounds like a Hollywood script, doesn't it? All passion and impulse and cameras flashing. But their love story became a nightmare. When their private moments were stolen and broadcast to the world, the infamous tape. It wasn't just a violation of privacy. It was the theft of intimacy itself. Imagine having your most vulnerable moments dissected by strangers, having your love turned into a commodity. "I felt like I died a little inside every day," Pamela would later reflect. "People saw me as this bombshell who could handle anything. But inside, I was falling apart." Tommy and Pamela had 2 sons together, Dylan and Brandon. Beautiful boys who would grow up watching their parents' relationship play out in tabloids and courtrooms. The marriage ended in 1998, marked by allegations and heartbreak that would follow Pamela for years. Meanwhile, Liam found his own kind of love story. In 1993, on the set of a Broadway revival, he met actress Natasha Richardson. She was elegant, intelligent, the daughter of acting royalty. Their love was quieter than Pamela's tabloid romance, but no less profound. She had this laugh, Liam once said, his voice soft with memory. It could light up the darkest room. They married in 1994 and had 2 sons together. For 15 years, they built what seemed like an unshakable foundation. Natasha would often accompany Liam to film sets. They were partners in every sense of the word, but tragedy has a way of finding us when we least expect. March 16, 2009. A skiing trip to Canada, what should have been a family vacation, became the day that changed everything for Liam. Natasha fell during a beginner's lesson. At first, it seemed minor. She was laughing about it, making jokes. But head injuries can be deceptive. Hours later, she was in a coma. 2 days after that, Liam had to make the most devastating decision a person can make. He had to let her go. She was on life support, Liam shared years later, his voice barely above a whisper. I told the kids she was brain dead. I said, "Mommy's gone to heaven." And we donated her organs. The man who played heroes on screen suddenly found himself facing the most unheroic moment of his life. The moment when all your strength means nothing. When love isn't enough to save someone. For Pamela, the 2000s brought their own challenges. More relationships that played out under the media's harsh glare. Marriage to Kid Rock, another divorce. A reunion and second marriage to Tommy Lee, that lasted for months. Each relationship dissected, analyzed, judged by people who'd never met her. She threw herself into activism. Animal rights became her passion. PETA campaigns, speaking out against the fur industry. Fighting for causes bigger than her own pain. It was as if she was trying to transform her fame from something that had often hurt her into something that could help others. I realized I had this platform, she said during a 2005 interview. I could use my voice for something meaningful, but the personal struggles continued. Financial difficulties, custody battles, health scares, including her battle with hepatitis C, which she'd contracted from sharing a tattoo needle with Tommy Lee. Through it all, she carried herself with a kind of dignity that her critics often missed. Here was a woman who'd been reduced to a punchline, yet she kept fighting, kept trying, kept hoping for something real. Liam, meanwhile, was learning to navigate life as a widower. His grief was private, but it was also profound. He threw himself into work. Action films became his specialty. The Taken franchise turned him into an unlikely action star at age 56. But those who knew him could see the sadness in his eyes. Work saved me, he admitted. It gave me something to focus on besides the emptiness. He dated sporadically. There were rumors, brief relationships that never seemed to take hold. How do you love again after losing someone so completely? How do you trust that happiness won't be ripped away? The 2010s brought new chapters for both of them. Pamela appeared on Dancing with the Stars, showing a different side of herself. Vulnerable, determined. She wasn't the Baywatch babe anymore. She was a woman in her 40s, fighting for respect, for a chance to be seen as more than her past. She returned to her Canadian roots, spending more time away from Hollywood. The move seemed to bring her peace. Away from the paparazzi, the constant judgment. She could breathe again. Liam continued his journey through grief and healing. He spoke more openly about Natasha, about loss, about the complicated process of moving forward while honoring the past. And then, somewhere in the quiet spaces between their separate struggles, something shifted. The first whispers came in late 2023. Pamela and Liam had been spotted together at a small restaurant in upstate New York. Nothing dramatic. Just two people sharing a meal, talking quietly. But in Hollywood, nothing stays secret for long. They looked comfortable together, an unnamed source told an entertainment reporter. Like old friends who understood each other. Old friends. Funny how love sometimes disguises itself as friendship first. How two wounded hearts might find each other not through passion, but through recognition. The recognition of shared pain. Shared resilience. More sightings followed. A walk through Central Park. Liam visiting Pamela at her Vancouver home. Small moments that, when pieced together, suggested something deeper than friendship. But both of them had learned to be cautious with their hearts. Pamela had been burned by public relationships before. Liam had protected his privacy fiercely. Since Natasha's death, if something was blooming between them, they were determined to nurture it away from the spotlight. They're both very private people now, says the source close to both stars. They've been hurt by media attention before. This time, they want to do things differently. Picture them together. To people who've lived entire lifetimes in the public eye. Finally finding someone who understands the weight of that experience. Someone who knows what it's like to be reduced to headlines. To have your pain commodified. To fight for the right to be seen as human. Pamela, at 56, has found a peace she never had in her younger years. She's comfortable in her own skin now. Confident in ways that have nothing to do with her appearance. She's a mother, an activist, a woman who survived everything Hollywood could throw at her. Liam, at 71, carries his grief like a scar that's finally healed. It's still there, always will be. But it no longer defines every moment of his existence. He's learned that honoring the past doesn't mean sacrificing the future. Together, they represent something rare in Hollywood. Second chances. The possibility that even after loss, after heartbreak, after years of being misunderstood, two people can find each other and choose to be brave enough to try again. The source hints that an announcement might come soon. Not because they want publicity, but because they've reached a point where hiding feels more exhausting than sharing their truth. They're happy, the source reveals. And they've decided that happiness is worth protecting, but not worth hiding. Forever. What would their love story look like? Not the Hollywood version with red carpets and magazine covers. Something quieter, more authentic. To people who've learned that real love isn't about grand gestures or public declarations. It's about showing up for each other, understanding without explanation, healing together. Maybe they cook dinner together in Pamela's Vancouver kitchen, sharing stories about their children, their dreams, their fears. Maybe Liam reads to her from books he's discovered. Maybe Pamela shows him the animal sanctuary she's been working to establish. Maybe they found what they were both searching for all along. Not someone to complete them, but someone who understands that they were complete all along. Someone who sees the strength it took to survive their journeys and chooses to walk the next part of the path together. The entertainment world is holding its breath. Will they confirm what everyone suspects? Will they step into the light together? Two survivors choosing love over fear. Only time will tell. But maybe that's the most beautiful part of this story. After decades in the spotlight, Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson have finally learned that the most precious moments happen away from the cameras, in quiet conversations, in shared silences, in the choice to trust again, and maybe, just maybe, that's exactly where their love story is meant to unfold. If this story moved you, if you believe in second chances and unexpected love, let us know in the comments below. What do you think about Pamela and Liam potentially finding love together? And don't forget to subscribe to Luminoir for more untold stories of hope, heartbreak, and the resilience of the human spirit.